All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown. All three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today, I'm going to be reviewing Abandoned, book number 2 in the Donovan science fiction / horror novel series by W. Michael Geer. About 2 years ago, I read and reviewed book number 1, Outpost, and I gave it just a dynamite glowing review. So now I'm going to finish the series out. There is 6 books in the series. If you want to watch my review of book number 1 before you watch the review of this book, just type in my last name, Durfee, and the Outpost into your YouTube search bar, and that video review will magically appear upon your screen. It's sorcery. I don't know how the internet works, but that's how it does. But anyway, so book number 1 we already reviewed. Now we're doing book number 2. And got the rest of the series here. And as you can see, they all look dynamite together. You know, it just looks like a sharp-looking book series there. And let's talk about the cover first, because you know I love graphic design and cover illustration. The cover for all of these books was done by an artist named Steve Stone. You can see they're all just really cool covers. This one is probably my favorite, actually. It's just dope. We'll show them to you one at a time. If the sun or the light in my room isn't glaring off of the plastic covers I put on these things. Now, I'm a huge fan of W. Michael Geer. I have pretty much everything that he's written, plus all the stuff that he co-authored with his wife, Kathleen O'Neill Geer. In fact, I've met them before, and they signed quite a few of my novels. But this was, maybe about 15, 20 years ago. But he signed my Spider trilogy, which is a great science fiction trilogy, which I've also already read and reviewed. So let's talk about book number 2. The setup for this whole series is there's a planet called Donovan, and this planet is up. It's like, and when I call this a science fiction space opera / horror series, I mean, really the horror elements are what stand out the most in this, because Donovan is a planet that just humans should not be living on. Everything on this planet, from the trees to the rocks to the air to everything, the bugs, the animals, all are out to kill the humans. So it doesn't matter where you go, you might have a rock that comes alive and stabs you. Literally, there's creatures that just look like boulders that suddenly, and then the trees come to life. There's these things called quetzalcoatlus, I think. They're the most dangerous. They're like little dinosaur things, and they're the worst. And then there's little bugs that burrow into your face and stuff, and but yet the people are living here, and they've kind of been abandoned on this planet, and they're mining. They're doing some mining. They're doing all they can to survive. The community's not that big, and there's other little branches of communities out through the wilderness that have kind of left the main community for reasons, because the people in this community are kind of like, nobody's nice. There's really no good people. I mean, everybody's kind of out for themselves, and they've been abandoned by the people that sent them there. Well, in book number 1, we find out that a starship comes to anyway, they get found by Earthlings. They are Earthlings. I mean, they're all humans. But Earth sends different starships to different planets just to do reconnaissance, just to see because they haven't heard from the people from Donovan, so they sent them, not really a rescue mission to Donovan, but they sent a starship full of other humans to Donovan in book 1, and they make contact, and they come down and they try to integrate themselves in the Donovan community. Doesn't go out. So now we got 2 factions of people. the original people that were born and raised on Donovan, and then the Starship people that just kind of arrived. And who's going to be, it's a power play, it's a power struggle. It's a soap opera power struggle of what's going to happen to these people amidst a landscape that's going to destroy them. We open up this book with Talbot and Shin, who are lost and alone in the horror wilderness that is Donovan, and just, oh, it's creepy. It's just creepy. Things that happen to them are right straight out of the movie. Aliens, things like that. It's just creepy. And so they're lost and alone, and I'll just say, they kind of wander into, well, one of the characters wanders into one of these little settlements that's broken off from the main settlement. And when I say a little settlement, it's like 10 people. And whilst he's there, he meets a young girl named Kylie, who has somehow befriended and taken as a pet one of the most dangerous creatures on the planet. The creature that haunted everybody in book number 1. Well, this little girl that he finds has taken one as a pet. And they get along. I mean, the pet trusts her. It's like, I mean, it's really the heart and soul of this whole book is that relationship between the most deadly creature on the planet and this little girl. And Talbot is originally like, oh my gosh, we got to kill this thing, because I've seen other ones of this species. They just create how they murder, they kill, they just eat, and they destroy, and they're awful. They're the worst things. So how can you be a pet? Well, anyway, one of the other storylines is involves the two factions of people, the people that were born on Donovan and the Starship people. Now, those from the Starship, and the Starship is named Turalon, that's from Earth. We've got Calico Aguila and Deb Spiro. Not nice people. They kind of want to be running things on the planet. They're kind of have their orders that they got to follow. They're just causing problems for the people that are already on Donovan. And the people that are already on Donovan kind of they're kind of set in their ways, because they've been living in this very harsh and violent landscape for a long time. And they kind of conflict. Now, people that are part of the Donovan, that have lived on Donovan, that kind of group is that's Talina. She's kind of the main person. There's Shig and Trish Monahan and Yvette. And one of the things about Talina is, I told you about the Quaddle, the little girl that takes one of the Quaddles as a pet. Well, Talina has already been attacked by Quaddles a lot. In fact, one of the Quaddles, sort of just like in the Alien movie, sort of face hugged her and put something in her. And this thing that's in her sort of gives her visions and talks to her and makes her feel a certain way and gives her advice. And so now we've got this relationship with one of the most deadly creatures on the planet is actually living inside one of our characters. Another one of the characters has turned one of them into a pet. And things just get weirder from there. We've got another character named Dan Worth, or Don Worth, I can't remember. He kind of like on Donovan, he sets up he's from the Starship, but he sets up kind of a nightclub / brothel / party place bar in the main community. And he just runs it's just kind of he's kind of become like the mafia guy of the whole place. It's just got a really great setup, a lot of great characters that interact. Not everyone lives. There's a lot of death and violence in these things. It's very dark. Just an absolute book number 2. I think I might have liked book number 1 slightly better than book number 2. But book number 2 carries on with the characters that have survived from book number 1. And, in a great way. It's a suffocating planet. I almost feel like, gosh, I really wish they would get on the Starship and just leave. In fact, some of the people from the Starship, that's what they want most desperately. They're like, I wish I could just go back to the Starship. Even though it was like living in a confined space, at least it wasn't this horror show of a planet that I'm stuck on now. And it's at some point, it's just like you want them to escape this terror that they live on, this terror planet. But anyway, I give this one, book number 2, 9. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It's really damn good. And I can't wait. And we're going to be rereading, or not rereading, we're going to be reading the other 4 books in the series here soon and leaving a review. Thank you.